Oftentimes what shows and movies do is have an opening with narration, explaining the state of the world, a bit of the setting, and where we begin. It's okay to start out like that, as I realize that opening the way She-ra does with a full-on show don't tell can be a bit overwhelming to some audiences and runs the risk of leaving them confused, although I feel like the writers for She-ra did a reasonable enough job for establishing our main characters, their personalities, and getting us going without dumping too much onto everyone. Our first shot is of the Fright Zone. Smog in the air, massive metallic structures, and a green that does not look like a healthy color. And here's where two of our main characters grew up at. I mean, just looking at the place doesn't scream healthy place to raise children, and we're not supposed to. Adora is up and getting ready. She's a soldier, that's clear enough without anyone stating it. They're on time for her team's evaluation and is shown to be a pretty good combatant. She doesn't really seem too big on the whole making force captain thing. She accepts it because that's what she was raised for.
Is this not what you've wanted since you were old enough to want anything?
Yes.
Yet secludes herself immediately and does not show off the badge to anyone. She cares, but is not one for vanity or glory. We also see Adora is not so by the books or gotta follow them rules. I mean, she steals a skiff just because she wants to go have fun with Catra for a bit. Speaking of Catra, she comes across not as lazy, more someone who'd ask why you can't just pick up the ball, run over, and yeet it past the goalie in soccer. She's more someone who wants to do things her way, not as someone else wants to, hence her complete disregard for Shadow Weaver's opinion. Catra is quick on her feet and skilled enough. I mean, she gets inside the training room and avoids all the bots without anyone really noticing. She doesn't come across as a team player though, such as having everyone else run off to do the hard work for her, and can be a bit reckless.
Enough fuel to get back. That is a problem for future Adora and Catra. I think this must be the Whispering Woods. Every Horde squadron they've sent in there has never come out again.
Let's go in.
Wait, what?
Catra, tree! Tree!
Are you brain damaged? Don't be brain damaged. Oh, Shadow Weaver's gonna kill me.
Almost as if you should have been careful when driving a vehicle through a thick forest. Catra and Adora's relationship is established with how casual the blonde sounds with their interactions. When Adora is hanging there, she isn't like, oh, you made us do all the hard work, and says,
"Did you really show up late and let us do all the hard parts? That is low, even for you."
implying this is common behavior for Catra. I mean, Catra literally laughs in Adora's face and mocks her, yet all Adora does in response is
that a mouse?
What? Where?
with humor of her own. And while this scene with Catra lying down at the foot of Adora's bed is adorable and cute, it's meant to reinforce how close she and Adora really are, which makes the ensuing conflict between these two a bit tragic. And Shadow Weaver is the scary lady we know is powerful and dangerous. We could pick up on that and her magical aspect because of those shadows looming into Catra, and the concern on the two's faces when Shadow Weaver enters the room, voice booms, and looms in. She is their adoptive mother and is someone to feel concerned about whenever she's in the room with one of the characters. A dangerous force. She doesn't like Catra, which I'll get more into why I think that is in a later episode. On to the rest of the characters. Angela is the queen. Obviously, she is shown on a throne and is a protective mother. That is abundantly clear from how she and her daughter Glimmer interact in this scene.
I'm told you disobeyed orders and led the rebellion into a dangerous combat situation after you were ordered to retreat.
I was trying to protect a village from falling into the Horde's grasp.
You were reckless and put yourself and the other rebels in danger.
Fighting is supposed to be
True
dangerous.
enough.
Why did you even make me a commander if you won't let me fight?
That's enough. You're grounded.
Mom!
You heard me.
You never let me do anything!
We are not having this discussion tonight. You are embarrassing me in front of my royal court.
Yeah, the tone in the show has a tendency to just bounce around like this. It's weird.
Oh, I'm embarrassing you!
Go to your room.
I'm going!
Like mother, like daughter, these two are really dramatic. Angela is pretty protective of Glimmer, but not like a helicopter parent. She did make Glimmer a teenager and her daughter a commander after all in her army. She gives Glimmer some freedom, but really doesn't want her running into dangerous situations. We get more on why that is later, but as I said, this is the first episode. It is to establish the characters mainly and their relationships between one another. Glimmer has a little bit of a gung-ho, I know what I'm doing attitude. I mean, she sees a fight and leaps into it the first chance she gets. And look how she combats the monster in the Whispering Woods. She is growing up in a period of war.
How are we going to hold our own against the Horde if we keep retreating? Pretty soon we won't have anything left to defend.
Combined with her mother's protective actions has likely made Glimmer think she has something to prove.
Dear Mom, I know you'll never read this, but I have to say it somewhere. I feel like you don't respect me.
With how Angela looks to be underestimating her, which is why it takes little to get Glimmer running into the woods for a hunch Bo has. This gets better explored later, like many other things shown in the pilot. There is not much to say about Bo in all honesty. He's a nice guy. Besides the whole him firing an arrow into Glimmer's room, we really don't get much of anything about him until way later in the story. Really, he is Glimmer's friend and seems to have a thing for being tidy, as the first thing he does is clean up Glimmer's room. He seems to be more like a foil to Glimmer's character, and feels a little like a supporting character rather than a main one. Nothing necessarily wrong with that, but I wish they had a bit more going for him other than being a good guy and friend. After those introductions are taken care of, we now get the intrigue the plot episode is supposed to have, with the sword, which is the namesake of the episode, of course. Adora falls off her skiff and gets a vision.
Balance must be restored. Etheria must seek a hero. Adora.
You can't raise any more questions than this. So we have something that unnerves Adora, hooks us to the plot, and gets her out into the Whispering Woods again, and of course into her meeting with Bo and Glimmer. Then Adora gets caught, and they find that monster, which leads to Adora's first transformation into She-ra. Also, for some reason her hands just become untied, like we never see her cut the rope that's been holding her this entire time. It's a decent enough pilot episode because it does as one should, shows off the main cast, and establishes relationships, gives us a glimpse into the setting, but not too overwhelming as to dump a lot onto a first-time viewer's lap, gets us going for episode 2 to continue on with. This is what one should aim for when looking to create a TV show or first chapter of a book. Something that shows the audience who you're following and a little of what to expect. So that was episode 1 of Overanalyzing She-ra. I love this show, but be warned, I am going to get quite critical of it in a lot of later episodes. If you like this video and want to see more, then hit that thumbs up and the subscribe button, then bell. Also check out my channel for my video essays and music analysis videos. You might enjoy them as well. I hope to have you on for this journey I'm about to go on.